All right. We are in day 4, week 3, and tonight we're going to talk about business writing, primarily because you will be writing a thank you email message to career services. So we just wanted to make sure, you know, everyone knew, the proper protocol for doing that. Some of you probably write for your companies, or maybe you've done it in the past, but not everybody has worked jobs where they've had to write formal letters. So I just wanted to make sure we go through some of the basics of writing a letter, whether it's an email, a letter, uh, um, any type of formal communication. We're going to make sure we go over that. So we'll do that really quickly. Before we get started, though, I do have some quick reminders, right? Number one, there is no school on Monday. Monday is a holiday, so just be mindful that school is out. Um, our week 4, the access to all the assignments is open today. So you can access week 4 now. Partly that is because of the holiday. And then the other part is because week 4 ends on Thursday. Please be mindful that week 4 ends on Thursday. So starting today, week 4 is open, even though you don't have class on Monday. So just make sure you take note of those dates. Please, there is a survey that it comes right after week 3. Not sure how many of you have seen it, but there is a survey. Please take this survey. It's really important for the school. They do track that. They want to make sure you guys have been happy. Thank you for those of you that have taken it. And so they just want to make sure, if there's any recommendations or whatever, that they are able to hear your feedback. So please take that. Thank you so much. Even though the recap, so you saw yesterday that there was a mock interview debrief. I know some of you just did your mock interview today. We have some people doing it tomorrow. Please go back and do the mock interview debrief. It's so easy to forget it, especially because it's dated Wednesday. Please don't forget to go back and do that debrief, and try to do it as soon as you're done with your mock interview, because unless you write things down, you're not going to remember everything that person said to you. And you want to be able to, hopefully, some things stand out. But if you do it right away, or at least jot down notes while you're, in that interview, for those of you that haven't had it yet, so that when you do your debrief, and then also when you send your thank you, that you'll have those notes. All right. And I really need for everyone that has any outstanding work for week 2 and week 3, please have it done by Sunday. Please, please, please have it done by Sunday. I be honest, like, I rarely open things on week 4. All grades have to be in by Thursday night, so I don't even have any wiggle room myself. The course ends Thursday at 10 p.m. Thursday at 10 p.m. Not 10:01, not 10:02. I can't open the course for you. The course even closes for me outside of grading at 10 p.m. So you and I are in the same bucket. At 10 p.m. the course closes. It's not like when the course is in operation and I can like open up stuff for you. Once the class is over, it's over. So please, please, please don't try to do your final at the last minute. You know, technical issues can come up. The final technically is open now for anybody that wants to take it even early. It's open from now until Thursday at 9:59. So please, please, please make sure that you get those assignments in and you get everything done by that time. Hopefully before that time, but definitely by that time. Okay. The quicker, not to rush you, that you get your work done, the more you'll know what your assignment, with your excuse me, with your grade is going to be. You know, if you turn things in at 9:59 on Thursday, you know, you're going to have to wait, to get your grades via your online portal, your student portal. You can't call me and ask, hey, what's my grade? But if you get your work in on time, I grade, especially starting on Monday, as soon as things come in. So you should know what you are leaving the course with if you get everything done on time. All right. I know some of you it's very important that you pass this class. So for those of us that are graduating, I mean, your stuff should be in today. If I were you, I'd be trying to get it in today. I would definitely would not be waiting till Thursday at 9:59. That would be crazy. All right. So, oops. So what we're talking about today is, you know, the idea of business writing. I don't know how many of you have had to do business writing before, but I would say, and this is going to sound crazy, but like maybe 20 years ago, whenever you wrote something, it always had to be in Times New Roman. Even if you remember, I don't know if you remember height will. I don't know what it was for you guys or what your ages are, but even when I was in school, college, high school, whatever, Times New Roman 12 font, Times New Roman 12 font. Over the past decade or so, they've gotten a little bit lax with that, and now they allow you to use Arial and Calibri and even go down to 11 font. Why is that so important? Well, maybe you've never paid attention to it, but when you get letters in the mail, when you get anything formal, it's all written the same way. It's all written in Times New Roman, Calibri, or Arial. You won't see it written in any type of other weird, font. And then it's going to be 11 point, right? It's not going to be any other size outside of 11 or 12. I typically won't see anything bigger than 12. That'd be kind of unless it's a header or something, right? It's just standard business protocol. So just know that. Now, I have had some weird, and I'm sorry to call CEOs weird, but I've even had some weird CEOs that like would be so angry if you did not write everything in. Like I had this one boss, everything had to be Calibri. Like she was just, it was like she fell in love with Calibri and like everything, our website or everything had to be Calibri. She was so weird that way, but whatever. Of course, we know that when we do write, we do left justify. You do not indent paragraphs. You do indent the first sentence. Sometimes you don't. It really depends. Like in legal writing, we don't indent the first sentence, believe it or not. But in standard corporate writing, they indent the first sentence. Typically, if you're doing any type of narrative writing, college level writing, you'll indent the first sentence. Everything should be single space or double spaced in between paragraphs, unless otherwise. Of course, if you're in school and papers have to be graded, that is when they ask you to do double space. But in regular writing, business writing, any other type of formal corporate writing, everything is single space. And of course, 1-inch margins all the way around is pretty standard. Why is that important? Well, um, like I said, you will be writing an email, which some of this, what we're about to tell you for the business letter, won't apply. But I want you to make sure that when you do write the email, that you're using that protocol. When you're writing a letter, though, one of the key things to remember is at the very top of the letter, you should always have a header, which is with your information on it, followed by the date, and then whomever you're writing to, their address. You go on to greet that person. Very similar to what we did in the elevator pitch. You do some type of introduction, basically telling the person why you're writing them. You talk about whatever it is that you're writing them about. And then you have some type of call to action, which is your closing paragraph. Just like you would do if you were formally talking to someone even what you would do in an email, you always have that same cadence. It's very um, I forgot the word, technical, how you write, whatever you're writing. I don't care if you're writing a 50 pages or one page. Writing is very simple if you understand the techniques. If I was writing a 500 page book, it's still going to start with the same. It's going to be some type of introduction, introducing the topic. My middle paragraphs are going to be details about that topic. And every final paragraph is going to be summing it up, what happened in what I talked about in those previous paragraphs. And then the next step would be, okay, now you're going to go into chapter 2. If it's a letter, please call me back. It's always still some type of action step for the person that's reading it, right? So um, if it's a letter, an example, your information is at top. Why is that important? Well, depending upon how you know, write your envelope, that sometimes people use business envelopes, they don't always have their name on it. So when a person opens up a letter from you, they should know, "Oh, okay, this is coming from Sam. Here's their contact information. Here's today's date," because it tells you when the letter was written, right? You don't want the person to have to guess, "Oh, when did they write this letter?" Right? Even though the envelope is stamped, you just never know when the letter was written. It's always important to know that. Then you're always going to follow up with the other person's information. Again, even if you address something in an envelope, sometimes you don't have like Mike Freiner, CEO. It could just be ABC Corporation on the outer letter, or the envelope, excuse me. But let's say you lose the envelope. How many times do we throw envelopes out, right? You want to keep the letter, you should always know who to address it to. There's so many times at businesses where, a secretary or a mailroom will get information. Sometimes they open it, sometimes they don't. But if it's addressed to a specific person, at least they know where it goes, right? So it's always important to have that person's name. You start with a "Dear Mr. Freiner," right? First paragraph. Look at that. Why am I writing you? Right there at the top. Always tell somebody why you're writing them, why you're talking to them. Nobody needs to guess, like, what is this going to be about? Number 2, the paragraph should be whatever it is you're writing about. This person that was writing about why you are the best, or if that's a job offer or whatever. And this example is like a cover letter, right? Why you're the best person for the job, right? And then the last paragraph is always a call to action. No matter what, call to action, put the person's name, because again, the person that's reading it should always know what it's about. Like, let's pretend like a loved one or whatever wrote you a letter, right? "I'm writing you, Sarah or Sammy, to tell you how much I love you. I love you like the oceans are blue and the skies are this and this and that and this and this and this and that and the rivers flow." And that's it. And so you might be like, "Oh, that's nice." But it would probably even be better if I wrote you that, "Oh, I'm calling to writing you to tell you how much I love you. I love you like this and that, and the rivers flow. And I'm just sending you this to let you know how much I care about you. And I can't wait to see you next Friday." Oh, okay. Thank God. Now I know, because now I'm thinking, are these your last days? Like, what does that mean? Like, I don't, right? It's good, but it makes you wonder, right? Like, people always let someone know at the end of everything that you write what it is, the reason why, or what it is you would like them to do. If it's nothing, I just want to tell you thank you, then let that be what it is. If you want to hear from them, then I look forward to hearing from you, right? Always have a closing paragraph. So if you are writing a thank you message, right? You just got finished interviewing with someone and you were sending them a letter, which we don't do nowadays. Most times it's email. But if we were to send a letter, you would start right at the top with your contact information, right? Nowadays, like I told you, we don't really put our address on it because we don't trust people like that. But your email address, your phone number, that would all be fine. Then you start with the date. Then you write whoever it is, right? It's Mr. Mitchell in this case. And then you say, Dear Mr. Mitchell. You start out with that opening paragraph. Thank you for the opportunity to interview. Oh, okay, I'm Mr. Mitchell. Now I know what this person wants. They're thanking me for an opportunity to interview. In the second paragraph, the guy is just talking about something that happened in their interview, just like we tell you to do. And then look, in the final closing paragraph, thank you again for your consideration. As requested, I'm enclosing a copy of my references. Maybe that's something Mr. Mitchell asked for. And what is the call to action? I look forward to hearing from you soon. So, what is he telling Mr. Mitchell? I'm waiting to hear from you. Let me know something one way or the other, right? But that is the call to action. So Mr. Mitchell knows, okay, this communication, this interaction ends with me, and I need to do a follow up because this guy is telling me, or girl is telling me, okay, they're waiting to hear back from me regarding the interview. If it's an email, it could be something very similar. The only difference is you don't need to put your information at the top, and you don't have to put a date. So look here how that works. So I already messed that up. Is it Jaylia? Jaylia? I don't know. Jaylia, Ms. Cortez, let's just say, their email address is here. The references that were discussed were here, but you go right into Dear Mr. Mitchell, thank you. So you don't need a header, and you don't need the date. That's the only difference. Now, why is that? Because obviously when you send the email, what's going to happen? It's going to be dated. And what you will have is your signature block at the end, so the person will know. So you're not going to have a little header up here that's weird, because you're going to have a signature block down below, right? So that's the only difference. The rest of it is the same. Why are we showing you guys this? Because you are going to be doing your thank you letter. I think that's due today. If you've had your mock interview, you've done your mock interview, you've done your debrief. Now we want you to send the person a thank you note. Now, if you remember how to interview, you guys should have asked for a card. Did anybody ask for a card, or did you already have the person's information? Did anybody have to ask for a card from the career services, or did you already have their information?
I already have information.
You had it. Davian, you asked for a card. Oh, very good. Smooth touch. I like it. I
Oh
like
no,
it. Right.
I already had her
You
information.
already had the information. Okay, well, that's good. So you
Yeah,
didn't
I
have
already
to
had it.
ask for a card. Okay.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
no card.
All right, very good, but good. I'm glad you have the information, because then it'd been very embarrassing to say, I don't remember who I talked to. Then you got to call around, and then now it's like, oh, you don't remember me. That gets awkward, right? So I'm glad. It's like going on a date you don't even know who you want to date with. So I'm glad you guys have their information. Send them that thank you. Say something really, really, smart about what happened in that interview. Stand out. Hey, I'm not saying it's a competition, but kind of stand out. Let that person know that you really appreciate them taking the time to do that for you. I'm not trying to say they're going to put you at the top of the list if a job comes up, but you never know, right? They talk to a lot of students. I'm just telling you guys, they talk to a lot of students. And if it were me, I would definitely want them to remember me, and to remember. I don't know if you guys had an opportunity to talk about your career plan. Did anybody have an opportunity to talk about their career plan? Was that something that they asked you guys? For those of you that have done yours,
Yeah, she asked me for my questions earlier.
your um, your questions.
Oh no, like long term goals and short term goals.
Good, good. That's important because, again, they're talking to employers, right? And so let's say, Davian has said that he really wants to work at a small company because he wants to start his own business. And somebody calls her up, and him or her, I'm not sure if it's a male or female, calls them up and say, hey, I'm really looking for someone, and she had such a good interaction with Davian, and she remembered that Davian wants to work at a small company. Who do you think she may refer? Right? Maybe the next person that she met with didn't really have any plans or didn't even talk about a preference. But Davian was very specific. Davian was like, listen, I want to start my own business. He showed us all his enthusiasm. He sends her an email back talking about how excited he is and thanking her for her time. Davian is going to stand out, right? Not to say that, career services, has favorites, but they're one of your first recruiters. And as you go through your career, you're going to meet a lot of recruiters, right? Especially, the higher up you go, the more recruiters stalk you because they try to recruit you away from your companies. You guys will figure that out once you get into your career. They'll try to say, oh, you work at this company, this construction company. I see you've been working there for 20 years, 10 years. I have another company that'll pay you an extra 10,000 to come work for them. You guys are you'll you'll you know that's good. That's good courting, but you'll get courted by recruiters. But the career services is essentially one of your first recruiters. So stay connected to them. Y'all remember what we talked about yesterday about networking. So makes sense. All right. Um Hard copy of your thank you letter. So you will be submitting your thank you letter to me. So you can copy and paste it. You can snip it. You can, hopefully y'all know how to use technology. Take a picture of it and then, or download it, and you can upload it as an attachment and make sure you turn it in. All right. All right. So, are there other types of business letters? Just to wrap this up, yeah, there's other types of business letters. There are letters if you have to decline a position. Listen, my friends, if you don't want a job, or let's say you already got a job because you've been out there applying for jobs, and this is going to happen to you, if not now, later, and two different companies offer you a job. So what are you going to do? Are you going to say yes to one and just ignore the other? Please don't do that because your industry is very, very small. You can say yes to one and then just let the other one know, send them a letter saying, oh, thank you so much for this opportunity. But unfortunately, um, you know, here's an example of acceptance, but let me show you this example of declining, right? Thank you, but I've decided to move in a different direction. Don't get too personal. Somebody offered me a better one. No, don't do that. You've decided to move in a different direction and thank them again. Why is that? Because that may not be the last time you see that company, right? What if you go, and I wouldn't necessarily tell them that I've accepted another job. I would just say I decided to move in a different direction, or unfortunately, I won't be able to move forward in the application process, is what I typically say. Because I always want to keep that door open, right? You always want to keep that door open. You never know, 2 years down the road, 3 years down the road, a better position comes up or a position that moves you to the next level. And you have to go back to that company. And let's say you stiffed them or you didn't respond to them, you don't know if that HR person is still going to be there. So start practicing that proper etiquette now. Make sure you send a letter declining the opportunity, right? Even if it's a company where you haven't even interviewed yet, but again, you secured a job and now they're asking you to interview, make sure you respond because you never know when that's going to come back around because it comes back around. Trust me, it comes back around. So let's make sure you do that, right? With an offer letter, obviously you're going to accept. Now, in the book, it talks about maybe you've accepted a position, but they haven't sent you a formal letter. Normally, I wouldn't recommend accepting anything if you haven't gotten a formal letter. Nowadays, like I was explaining to you, HR is going to send you an offer letter before you accept. It's very rare that someone will offer you a job in the interview process. Does it happen? Yes. Has it happened to me? Yes. It just depends on how sophisticated the business is. Some people have very stringent protocols where the manager's not allowed to offer you the job. It has to come directly from HR, which is the technical correct protocol. But some companies are small and they don't have all that, system set up. So the manager could just offer you the job and give you the job. It's okay, there you go. But even with that, it's still a verbal. I still would want something in writing, to know I have a job, an official offer letter or something. It's not like if you're going to work at Target where they could just hire you on the spot and you fill out paperwork and things like that. Typically, if it's a formal career job, they have to send you an offer letter and you have to sign it and they sign it and they send you back what's called an employment contract. That is a contract, my friends. That's when you know you have a job. I know for me, I would not want to be starting something and I don't have an official letter saying that I've started the job, right? There's been offers to me before for jobs and I've never gotten a contract. Yeah, that happens too. People are nuts nowadays. I guess the downside of LinkedIn is that there's so many people out there looking for jobs, and there are recruiters and companies are talking to so many different people. I've actually interviewed and had someone offer me a job, and I'm thinking, oh, I got the job. Now she never sent me a formal letter, so I was a bit leery. It wasn't my only thing I had going, so I didn't care too much. But and I was a consultant, so she's like, "Oh, do you want to, consult for our company as well?" I'm like, "Sure, I do." We interviewed everything, told me when I was going to start, and then she ghosted me. And that's happened more than once. Like it's so annoying. So until you get an official letter and you both sign and they sign and you sign and they send you back a copy, then you have an official contract. So just know that. All right. So here's your participation question for today. Your participation question is, what is your biggest hurdle or obstacle that you feel will keep you from achieving your career goal? What is your biggest hurdle or obstacle that you feel will keep you from achieving your career goal? And how will you overcome it? How will you overcome it? Make sure you answer both of those. What is the biggest hurdle and how will you overcome it? I see a lot of students have taken me up on watching my pre-made video. That's okay. If you guys are wondering, where's everybody? There aren't any pre-made videos for next week, so I'm sure people will be back. But anybody watch those pre-made videos? Just curious. No? Okay. Because you guys all come to class. Oh, Andrew, you've seen it? Okay.
Yeah, I watched half of one the other day.
Okay. Just make sure it's working properly for you guys. All right. So it's telling me some people are outside. Go ahead, Davian.
When you ask that, does it mean about anything? Like anything? Do you think that's probably your biggest obstacle? Because I think my biggest obstacle is all seven of these kids I had. Like,
Mm-mm.
yes,
7.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Seven. Yes, I have seven children.
Oh, that's a 7 blessings, honey. You listen.
um, I was just throwing out something.
No, that's a huge obstacle. It was an obstacle for me. I have
Yeah.
one. It wasn't because I wasn't trying, Davey, and it just didn't work out for me the way it worked out for
Yeah, I
you.
wasn't trying. They just started coming. So
Listen, that's a blessing. When you get older, you got 7 options
I don't know.
to take care of you. So that's what I got one option. And hopefully it works
Yeah,
out for me.
seven
But
of them.
okay, you sound young. I don't know. But
Yeah, I'm only 30 years old.
oh,
So
you're only 30? Oh,
yes, yes.
listen. Look at Jim was like, "Oh my God." Listen, that's a blessing. Let me tell you guys something. I mean, nothing in life is easy, but I wish I would have been able to have more children, but it just didn't work out that way. So, children are a blessing. But let me tell you, it was an obstacle. It was an obstacle for me. I had to switch careers because of it. When I unfortunately got divorced, and I became a single mom, I had to switch careers. So And so it is an obstacle for sure, for sure.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing now. I switched careers. I should have
Yeah.
just stayed in the military if I knew this.
Okay, listen, me
Yeah,
too, Davey, and me too. I understand it. It would have been a lot easier, but
way much
uh,
easier.
yeah, unfortunately, I got married long after leaving the military. But yeah, if I knew it was gonna turn out like this, listen, I looked into trying to go back. I'm not gonna lie. They said you too old. I'm like, are you sure? They was like, yeah, ma'am, you too old.
Yeah, I've been trying to look into it too, but I already got 100% disability, so
Oh,
it,
okay,
it,
okay, I hear that.
yes,
Yeah,
ma'am.
but you'll make it. So it went out. I mean, it's one of the reasons why I started teaching online was because of my daughter. I used to teach in New York City. And by the way, let me go ahead and stop the recording because we're just chit chatting. And